Most adults don't realize the moment they stop trusting themselves. Nothing dramatic happens. They just stop doing what they said they would. And after that, everything gets harder. It doesn't start with failure. It starts with something you don't even notice. The alarm rings, you hear it, you know what you plan to do. And then, nothing. You stay still. No consequence, no punishment. Life continues. That's the moment most people miss, because in that moment, your mind learns something quietly dangerous. When you give an instruction, it doesn't have to be obeyed. Nothing breaks immediately. You still believe you're capable. You still believe you'll change. But from that morning on, every command you give yourself carries less weight. Not because you're weak, because authority, once ignored, always fades. And most people don't realize where they lost it until their own words stop working. People think they lose control during breakdowns. They don't. They lose it during ordinary days. When action doesn't follow decision, the mind doesn't argue. It observes. It tracks outcomes. You say now, nothing happens. You say later, life continues smoothly. So the mind updates its rules, not consciously, structurally. It learns that your instructions are suggestions, not orders. That's why this feels harmless at first. It feels human, forgivable, normal. But repetition turns softness into structure, and one day you notice something strange. You still make plans, they just don't move you anymore. You didn't lose discipline, you lost authority, and authority only disappears one ignored command at a time. At first, your plans still sound convincing. To you, I'll start tomorrow, I'll do it later, I just need the right moment. It feels responsible, organized, calm. But repeat that pattern without action, and something shifts. The mind stops responding, not because it's lazy, because it has learned that nothing follows your words. Like a sound you stop noticing. Over time, self-talk goes flat. Encouragement feels hollow. Even fear stops motivating. People think they need stronger goals, more pressure, more urgency. They don't. They need trust restored. Because when the mind stops believing decisions lead to action, even simple tasks feel heavy. Not because they're hard, but because your system no longer listens. When your words stop working, effort won't save you. Most people aren't stuck, they're negotiating. One voice wants progress, another wants comfort. Both sound intelligent, both feel reasonable. So every decision becomes a discussion. Start now or later, push or rest. Commit or stay flexible. It feels mature, balanced, but balance without hierarchy creates paralysis. Nothing is in charge. Every mood gets a vote. Every impulse gets a microphone. And when everything has equal authority, nothing moves. You don't crash, you drift. Days stay full. Life stays unchanged. I used to think this meant I was being thoughtful. What I was really doing was avoiding enforcement. Calm doesn't come from agreement. It comes from order. If knowing were enough, change would be easy. Most people already understand what they should do. Awareness isn't missing. Information isn't missing. What's missing is proof. The mind doesn't change because you understand something. It changes because outcomes repeat. That's why motivation fades, why inspiration expires. Guilt doesn't help either. Shame adds emotion, not structure. And structure is the only thing the nervous system responds to. This isn't a character flaw, it's conditioning. Until decisions reliably lead to action, the mind keeps doing what it was trained to do. Delay, conserve energy, wait. The mind doesn't need more talk, it needs proof. The real problem lies in a few quiet seconds. Not during the decision, but right after it. That pause, the moment you check how you feel, the moment you hesitate. That gap feels harmless. It isn't. That's where authority leaks. Every time delay wins, resistance strengthens next time. That's why starting feels heavy. Why do people count down before standing up? The mind learned that hesitation works, but when decision and action touch, when there's no gap, something changes structurally. The mind stops testing commands that are always enforced. Control returns when the delay disappears. Modern life makes avoidance effortless. Distraction is instant. Comfort is cheap. Exits are everywhere. So when people blame themselves for lacking discipline, they miss the real problem. The brain always chooses the easiest path available. That's not a weakness, that's biology. Expecting willpower to win in a world full of exits is exhausting. That's why fewer options work. Fewer choices, less friction, cleaner action. Control grows in simplicity, not intensity. If escape is easy, authority never rebuilds. Authority doesn't return through big promises. It returns in boring moments. When you finish what you start. When you stop, you decide to stop. When you move, the moment you decide to move. No speeches, no hype, just enforcement. These moments don't feel powerful, they feel plain, but your mind is watching. Each follow-through restores trust. Each one says, this instruction matters. Over time, resistance fades. Action stops feeling dramatic. It feels normal. And that's how you know control is real. When action feels normal, authority is already back. And here's what most people never realize. Your mind doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you repeat. Every delay trained delay. Every follow-through is trained obedience. There was no neutral period, only repetition. That's why change feels impossible to some and simple to others. Not because of talent, because of history. But history isn't permanent, it's just evidence, and evidence can be rewritten. Quietly, one enforced command at a time. The mind doesn't need a breakthrough, it needs consistency it can believe. Today, don't fix your life. Don't make a plan you won't follow. Don't make 10 promises. Just do this. Give yourself one instruction you don't negotiate with. Something small, something clear, and enforce it calmly. That's enough to start rebuilding authority. If this kind of thinking brought clarity, you can subscribe. If not, that's fine too. But remember this. The moment you act when you say you will, something inside you starts listening again. And that's the moment control comes back.